Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my office. Very exciting stuff. Recently, I've been doing a lot of networking because I'm a pretty big fan of being able to pay my bills and eat. And the other day, I went to one of these events and they were handing around a microphone, getting everybody to introduce themselves in the room. And I got up and I introduced myself as a filmmaker. I told everybody I've been doing this for over 11 years now, and I've worked on everything from big budget film and TV to weddings to corporate, all of the usual stuff. And afterwards, I had a bunch of people come up to me and they were really excited. They were like, oh, wow, that's so cool. You're a filmmaker. What do you do? And whenever I told them that I did a bit more documentary style films and corporate things, and like that was my main interest, and that's what I really love to do, they kind of glazed over and they were a little less receptive to talking to me. I could see that they were a bit upset that I wasn't going to be the next Nolan or Scorsese or anything like that. And well, that's all well and good. Everyone's really excited because, oh wow, filmmaking, it's very exciting. And, there's a lot of mystery surrounding our industry, and it's very exciting to a lot of people about what we do and what goes on behind the scenes. So I could see that they were hoping that I was a bit higher up the chain than they were expecting, maybe, and that maybe it wasn't documentary was my main bread and butter. That's got me thinking over the past few weeks about what it actually means to be a filmmaker. Like, I've been doing this for over 11 years, so I've surely earned my stripes as a freelance filmmaker. But what exactly do you have to do to earn the title? So join me as I ramble through some ideas and some things I've been thinking through, and we'll come to the answer together. So I think we've ascertained already that due to my own identity crisis over being a filmmaker or not, is there anything that can actually quantify someone to be a filmmaker? And I'm honestly not sure. The word filmmaker can apply to almost anybody in this industry. I feel that to be a filmmaker, you just have to work on and create films. So that is runners, production assistants, security guards, locations team, the caterers. To me, they are all just as eligible as the director of photography or the director or the executive producers of the title of filmmaker. By that logic, my parents, my sister, her boyfriend, my girlfriend are all filmmakers because they have helped me in creating films. They have been in the background. They have been in the foreground in some cases. They have assisted me in creating films. So they therefore are filmmakers. They may not feel that they earn the title, but they have assisted in the act of creating a film. So surely they are filmmakers. Yes? No? I'm not entirely sure. I have seen a lot of heated debate online as to whether that tracks. Some people completely agree with me. I have seen people that say, no, it is only the director who's a filmmaker because they are the one steering the head of the ship. So they therefore are the filmmaker. But I feel if you have spent any time looking at any of the awards ceremonies, whether it's, Oscars or at Sundance or anything, you always see directors or producers or anyone that is going up and accepting an award, and they generally will thank the wider team because they are aware that filmmaking as a whole is a team sport. You cannot do it without assistance from other people. Whenever the awards come in or the recognition comes in, you're all able to share in that together because you were all part of making it happen. I feel that a lot of people that potentially don't work within the industry itself, or maybe just industry adjacent, and are looking from the outside in, will look at their favorite directors or their favorite DPs, and they will see people that are right at the top of the chain and are, have all the glory and have all the fame or have all the recognition. And they're like, no, that's the filmmaker. That's the head of the ship. So they are the ones that are the filmmaker. To me, as someone who has tried my hand at most things and has, done weddings and done corporate and done all of that, but also flies drones in the film and TV industry, that there isn't a single clear path to becoming a filmmaker. I would say most of the people that are production assistants or runners, they're doing that as a stepping stone to get a foot in the door, to learn what it is to work on a large set and be able to walk away and take that knowledge and take that information and use that on their own much smaller scale productions. And as a result, they then go and create their own things. They then become filmmakers in their own right, because again, they have taken part in the act of creating a film. However, in today's media landscape, everybody has a phone. They can easily just turn on the camera and record whatever they want. There's so much stuff out there, so much content that is uploaded to the internet every second. Just because people are recording stuff, and because they're recording video on a phone, on a mirrorless camera like I'm filming on at the minute, whether they're filming on an Arri Alexa or filming on a Canon or a Sony mirrorless, just because they're recording video doesn't necessarily make them a filmmaker. Bear with me. Just because someone is able to take decent looking video doesn't automatically qualify them as a filmmaker. I have gone through the gauntlet of being a videographer for many, many, many years. And all throughout that time, I wouldn't have classified myself as a filmmaker. I would have said that I was a videographer. I was doing a lot of stuff for corporate clients. I was making a lot of product videos and weddings and things like that. I would say with my weddings that they would be closer to films than a lot of the corporate and product stuff that I was doing, because with my weddings, I was intentionally trying to craft a film, something that would make people feel something. I never want to be the kind of person that goes, oh, my work is better than everybody else's, because at the end of the day, that's not true. But one of the things that I tried my hardest to do with any of my personal projects and any of the weddings that I did was to create something that anyone could watch. Whenever I was making weddings, obviously the couple and their families are going to enjoy the wedding, but a lot of videographers within the wedding industry will default to just creating recap videos and making something that's like really exciting and like, oh yay, wow, look at how great your day was. And couples love that, obviously their families love that. What I tried to do with my weddings was to create something that anyone could watch, a complete stranger could watch. Obviously, a lot of that was dependent on what happened on the day, whether it was from speeches or ceremony or whatever, whether they had their own vows or whether someone got up and delivered an absolutely fantastic speech. I would take everything that I could get and create a story, create a narrative out of it. And to me, there is so much parallel with that as to what is happening in the film industry, because you're trying to create something with the intent to evoke an emotional response. I feel like intention is what separates a filmmaker from a videographer or a hobbyist or your uncle who's just going around with his iPad trying to record memories. So there's nothing wrong with recording memories. I do it all the time. I have a small DJI Osmo, and I bring that everywhere with me, and I set it up and I record memories. So this brings me on to my next point, is that I can record memories and make them look beautiful and do whatever I want. But all of those things individually are it's just footage. It's just raw video. It's just raw stuff that has no purpose. It has no wider meaning other than I was recording something for the sake of trying to document a moment. If I then go back and go through my archives, which I try to do on a monthly basis. I try to go through and just see what was nice and, maybe put something together and put it up on Instagram. Whenever I do that, whenever I put something up on Instagram of just the memories that I've recorded, I end up just having something that was nice to put out there. It may look filmic because that's what I'm always trying to strive for, but there's no deeper meaning to it. However, if I was to take all of those same video clips and put them together and write a script, write narration, to me, that then becomes an intentional piece of work. So that becomes something that I'm trying to make bigger than the sum of its parts. And I don't know, maybe it's just incredibly pretentious of me, but I feel like there's no one point at which, whenever you're editing, that something goes from, oh, it's just a video, to, oh, it's a film. That has to come from the intention behind creating it. It has to come from what you want other people to feel whenever they interact with it. And again, I've spoken about this in other videos. Whenever you put something out into the world, you don't have any control, let's say, over how people will interact with a piece of art whenever you've put it into the world. They're always going to look at it through their own experiences and through their own lens, let's say. And that you have no control over that. All you can do is just move on and try and create something else. Your intention for how you wanted people to interact with the work, I feel that is what either separates it, as I said, from being just a nice recap video, from being a corporate event video or whatever, and what then changes it into a film. I've kind of gone on a bit of a random tangent there, but I have gone and made, like, over the years, I have gone and made plenty of videos that I would not consider film, because my intent behind it was to share information. Like this is not a film, but I've created I've countless corporate pieces, countless pieces for social media for clients, and to me those aren't films. They can be artsy, sure. The intent behind it can be to, make someone go, oh, that was cool, I really want to learn more about that brand, or oh, that was cool, I want to go and visit that place. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to evoke any deeper emotional response. I'm not trying to tell any story deeper than, hey, look at this thing, it was cool. Which, of course, is a completely valid form of art, by the way. You see so many people in the YouTube space and so many people on Instagram and TikTok, and they're like, look at this cool cinematic transition, and look at this cool technique, implement it in your next film. And I mean, all valid. Art is subjective. Crash zooms and fast cuts and all of that have existed well before they were popular on the internet. They're completely valid ways of helping tell a story, but again, it all boils down to the intent behind it. Why are we doing this? And obviously this is not to drag down any of the people that are online sharing all of these techniques. In fact, I think everybody should be sharing everything that they know. I think the more knowledge is out there, the better it makes everybody's work, because you have more creative tools to implement into whatever it is that you're making. In the same vein, but on the opposite side of the coin, there is some very interesting artists on YouTube. There's Gox Art, who makes absolutely incredible footage. His stuff is always just looks immaculate. It's so vibey. But in the last lot of years, I've seen him develop and put a lot more intent into what is behind the work, and creating little narratives and stories and everything behind it. And that's just absolutely phenomenal to see. And just his growth has been excellent. I think it's really important that you can look back at the older works and see the clear growth from maybe just doing stuff just because it looks cool, to looking a bit deeper and seeing, oh, I can add more to this. I can develop a story. I can tell this through this specific lens. And as well, I saw at the end of last year, there was this absolutely fucking incredible documentary that I watched, and it was called Listers, and it's two guys. I can't remember whether they're brothers, friends, or cousins or whatever, but they go and spend a full year basically living in a car and going off and seeing as many birds as they can. They got really into bird photography, and it's just an incredible piece of work. It's over an hour long, but it is absolutely worth the watch. It's as a piece of documentary, told from the perspective of the characters living it in the moment. It is just absolutely incredible. Highly recommend. And it's incredibly edited, and there's so many little creative segues and transitions in there as you go through the story. And oh yeah, just honestly one of my favorite films that I saw last year, and it wasn't even a theatrical release, and it wasn't even something that I had to pay to see. It was just on YouTube. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about the modern day of YouTube and the social media landscape, is that it kind of, yes, it makes it, in some respects, it makes things more difficult because everybody is out there vying for attention. I mean, my whole reason for creating this channel was to hopefully be able to share my work and get more eyeballs on it. It remains to be seen whether that will happen. I hope it does, obviously, because I think every artist wants people to see their work and for their work to be recognized. I feel like YouTube and social media has really democratized distribution, and being able to grow an audience and share things that you care about with people is just, it's just what every artist wants, really. And that's regardless of whether you're a filmmaker or a musician or whatever. I feel like there's so much opportunity out there for people, and I feel like everybody just has to do their bit to get eyeballs on their work. Again, I don't know where I'm going with that. Time to wrap this up and put it all into a nice bow. Because I've done enough segues, and I've been recording for over half an hour at this point, so it's I've spoken long enough. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what is it that actually makes a filmmaker? I mean, I'm not going to go and recap everything that we literally just spoke about, but I feel like what separates a filmmaker from someone who is just recording video for the fun of it is, as I said right at the beginning, is the intent. And I feel like that applies to directors and script writers and producers and everybody within the wider industry that works on this, is the intent behind what it is that they are making. Whether they want to take that title and attach it to themselves, that's up to the individual, I feel. And I feel as well that anyone who isn't in the industry, people who are purely in the online space, can also call themselves filmmakers, because again, it boils down to intent and what it is that they're trying to make and what it is that they want you to feel. I don't know about you, but I'm tired after that. So I guess to wrap it up, I'm a filmmaker. You're a filmmaker if you want to be. Go watch some of my stuff. I'll see you in the next one.